A former Indiana Fever standout star now returning to the team, serving as an assistant coach.
And she currently ranks #2 for all time in games played and assists.
She also is a 7-time WNBA All-Defensive Team honoree.
The Fever have announced Briann January is joining Stephanie White's staff. January helped lead the team to the 2012 WNBA Championship.
Remember that championship Fever team from 2012? Well, the mastermind behind that defensive wall just joined Caitlin Clark's squad. Briann January, the 7-time WNBA All-Defensive Team beast, is returning to Indiana as an assistant coach. This isn't just any coaching hire. January ranks #2 all-time in Fever history for games played and assists. Now imagine her basketball IQ combining with Caitlin Clark's offensive genius. Is this the move that transforms the Fever from rebuilding to championship contenders? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. You know what's crazy about this Briann January hire? She's not just any former player, she was the defensive anchor of that 2012 championship squad. When Indiana shocked the world and took down the Minnesota Lynx in the finals, January was right there in the middle of it all, hounding opposing guards and making life miserable for anyone trying to run an offense against the Fever. That championship run doesn't happen without January's lockdown defense and steady hand running the point. January's basketball resume is absolutely insane. 7 all-defensive team selections don't happen by accident.
Fans, this is Briann January of your Indiana Fever. Come join my teammates. Sorry.
And she comes out, her defense, people, even to this day, people hate playing against Briann January.
From her rookie year all the way to 2012, just night and day of who she was as a player.
There's always a lot of noise outside, and everybody showed up to work every day to get better.
Tremendous defender, black belt in karate, floor leader, tenacious, relentless competitor.
Briann brought that energy on the defensive end, had that command finally.
7. That's not just good, that's a career that screams elite defender. And check this, she ranks #2 in Fever history for games played and assists. That's not just talent, that's loyalty and impact over time. We're talking about someone who gave everything to this franchise for years, and now she's coming back to help rebuild it. But here's where it gets interesting. The Fever have been struggling defensively for years now. Last season, they were near the bottom of the league in defensive rating, giving up easy buckets left and right. In crunch time, when they needed stops the most, they couldn't get them. Their opponents were shooting way too high of a percentage, especially from beyond the arc. The defensive rotations were slow, the communication wasn't there, and teams were taking advantage. This is exactly why bringing in January makes so much sense. She wasn't just good at defense, she was elite. Her defensive footwork was textbook perfect. She had this uncanny ability to anticipate passes before they happened. The way she could disrupt passing lanes and force turnovers made her an absolute nightmare for opposing guards. She didn't just play defense, she took it personally when someone tried to score on her.
She's so annoying, like as a defender, because she gets all in you, which is the utmost of compliments. She could get into their heads.
She blocked it, got her own rebound, and now Taylor catches and is tripped.
I've never been around a player who comes back from an ACL injury and jumps higher. And Bree did that.
I attribute my confidence that I have right now just to the work I put in.
I think anytime you have an injury like she has, you have an enormous amount of time to feel because you can't play the game. And I think what Bree did was study the game.
Think about what she did during that 2012 championship run. She was locking down the best guards in the league. We're talking about some all-time greats, while still organizing and running the offense as the team's point guard. That's a rare kind of versatility that you almost never see. She wasn't just a specialist, she was the complete package who could impact the game on both ends of the floor. The Fever are bringing her back at the perfect time. With Caitlin Clark's offensive brilliance already established in her rookie season, what they need now is someone who can teach defensive fundamentals. Clark has shown she can score and create for teammates at an elite level, but like most rookies, her her defense has room for improvement. Having January there to guide her through the nuances of WNBA defense is going to be invaluable. Imagine January working one-on-one with Clark on defensive positioning, teaching her how to read screens, and showing her how to fight through picks. Those little details might seem small, but they're exactly the kind of coaching that transforms good players into complete ones. January knows all the tricks: how to crowd a shooter without fouling, how to force players to their weak hand, how to recover when you get beat. These aren't things you can just pick up on your own. You need someone who's been there to show you.
My expectations for this season are, of course, to get back to where we were last year in the finals and, take that next step and try to get a championship. Whatever it takes, being a point guard, I need to be an extension of the coach, like I said before, and just lead my team, raise everybody's level up, make everybody play better, put them in great situations so they can be successful. Becoming a better floor general, being an extension of the coach on the floor, leading my team. Definitely my scoring ability, being aggressive, and we have a pretty funny team, actually. But I know everybody would probably say Ebony. Ebony's hilarious. There's never a dull moment. Shay Murphy, she's another funny one. Jay Moore, Jessica Moore, hilarious.
Connection between January and Clark could become something special. Think about it. January was an elite defender who could also run an offense, and Clark is an offensive phenom who needs to improve her defense. They're like perfect complements to each other. January can show Clark exactly what she needs to round out her game and become the kind of two-way player that leads championship teams. For the rest of the Young Fever roster, having January around means learning from someone who knows what championship level effort and execution looks like. When she talks about defensive rotations or closeout techniques, it carries weight because she's done it at the highest level. She's not just teaching theory, she's speaking from experience. Why is January's return such a big deal? Because she brings championship DNA back to a franchise that's trying to rebuild their identity. She knows what it takes to win in Indiana. She understands the grit, the toughness, and the defensive mindset that made those Fever teams so special, and now she can pass that knowledge on to a new generation. This isn't just another assistant coach hire. It's bringing back a franchise icon who understands the culture, the fans, and what it means to wear that Fever jersey. January knows what Indiana basketball is all about. She lived it, she breathed it, she won with it, and now she's coming back to help restore it. Let's be real, this hiring move might be the best thing to happen to the Fever since drafting Clark. January isn't just bringing X's and O's to Indiana, she's bringing that winning mentality that's been missing, and timing couldn't be better with all these young stars on the roster. You know what makes this exciting? This could totally change the identity of this team. If January can install her defensive principles into this group, we might see a completely transformed Fever squad that doesn't just light up the scoreboard, but actually locks teams down on defense. That's how championships are built. That's the Indiana way.